Let's get started. Mario.
Mika.
I'm so excited to be talking to you today.
You said it earlier, we both live in Dubai, yet we're
Never
finally
see each other.
meeting in LA.
I didn't think you were a real person.
I get this a lot.
Are you a bot?
I get this a lot. Especially in the political world. There were rumors about 8 months ago, and there were genuinely people believing it and trying to prove that I never existed.
That's who was trying to prove
Some
that?
political people. Or every few months, there's like some new rumors about me. During the Gaza war, I was an Israeli spy. During when we covered Russia, Ukraine, I was a Ukrainian spy. Then I became a Russian spy. So it's pretty fun. Like, I'm telling you, crypto's pretty innocent when you get into politics.
Oh my God. And that's, I mean, crypto is crazy.
Crypto is ruthless. That's the word I'd use. Political world, like so when you go into crypto, obviously whenever someone blows up, and you'll see it as well if you haven't seen it already, you'll get your fair share of hate. When I had it, I remember Anthony Scaramucci and Brett Weinstein gave me the advice, because the day I faced the first hit piece, they're like, Mario, everyone goes through it. In crypto, when you go through it, they go dirty. In the political world, they go crazy. So it's like a different style of attacks that you face with different worlds.
Well, let's talk about your come up, because I was following you since the beginning, and you were doing the crypto spaces, and now you are talking to people like Hunter Biden and SBF and Mark Cuban and Elon Musk. And can we talk about the come up, because it's literally legendary?
Yeah, so I was big on Clubhouse. Not many people know this. I used to do the biggest room on Clubhouse. Then I liked spaces and audio rooms because I'm a pretty private person. I can't be bothered putting the camera, etc. But when I put AirPods and just talk, it's not bad. And then I started doing spaces afterwards. I used to be the biggest space when it first came out. Then I stopped it because I wanted to focus on the business. I started it again in the bear market. So by the end of the bull market, a few months before SBF, maybe 8 months before SBF or so. And then when SBF blew up, the FTX blew up, I covered that live for 30-something hours straight, went to sleep for 6 hours, covered it again. And that's when everyone knew about me, because everyone came on, Elon, a few politicians, obviously in the crypto world, everyone was there from Jesse from Kraken to CZ to a few lawmakers, and eventually SBF and then Hunter Biden. So that was kind of that FTX period that got me into the limelight. But getting into the limelight is one thing, it's very difficult to achieve. And then maintaining it is the hard part. And then what happened, do you remember I'm not sure how deep you are in politics, but the missile landed in Poland. Everyone thought it was Russia hitting Poland during the G7 summit. We covered that because I didn't expect to cover it, but everyone was asking us about it. So I covered it during the FTX period. And then everyone came to my space. I love politics. I've loved it since I was a kid. Everyone came to my space to understand what the hell's going on. Did Russia just attack Poland? Is Russia at war with NATO? Everyone just started to freak out. So I covered that. The space blew up. I'm like, shit. Maybe I should, even though it doesn't make business sense, maybe I should go down the political path, which is my passion. I did that. Then the Twitter files came out. Elon came on a couple more times. And then from there, it kind of took a life of its own.
Let's rewind. How did you get SBF as a guest?
He reached out. No, I reached out. I think we reached out to him. Me or someone from my team reached out to him. He was very open for it because he's been following me for a while. And he sees the way I try to approach different topics. So since I was a kid, I tried to never have opinions. I don't care how much of a criminal you are. I want to understand what's happening in your brain. So with SBF, I don't care how... Crypto was after him. It was a complete witch hunt after Sam. I'm not saying it wasn't warranted after what he did. But I wanted to understand what really happened and what's happening in Sam's mind. Because all we knew was his tweets. You remember what
yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, I want to know what the hell's going on through your mind. And he knew I'd be able to dig it out. And he was, the first public appearance he made was on the same day, us and the New York Times panel. And
you were up running that for 36 hours.
The first one, then took 8 hours sleep. Then I did another 20 hours or so because do you remember when it got hacked in Barbados, whatever it was? Was it in the Barbados? No, it was in
Bahamas.
And then the money started coming out of the FTX wallets. So I got woken up again after 6 hours to cover that. And then, we barely took breaks throughout.
Can you walk me through your operations? Because you're running, this is the biggest spaces. You're talking to these high level people. How do you operate? How do you run these things? How many people are in your team? Walk me through.
Most people don't know. IBC, which is the business behind it all, which is my focus. I love building the business behind the scenes more than the limelight. IBC's existed since 2017. I've been in crypto for a while. And we used to be the biggest consulting firm in 2017. Then in 2018, so everyone knew us back then in that cycle. 2018, I got scammed, lost millions.
Wow.
We sued the person. We just won the case a couple of months ago.
Congratulations.
And so almost went bankrupt in 2018. Then the next cycle happened, 2020, whatever it was, 21. And then in that period, we kind of focused heavily on marketing and incubation. And so we had a whole team from the get-go. We had a team for Spaces before FTX, but when FTX blew up, it's now 24/7 tweeting, validating information to make sure it's accurate. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't a breaking news channel. So my whole team, I kind of stopped the business completely. All the salespeople started managing the show and getting us guests. All the project managers started managing the show. All the writers we had in the business, we had, at the time of FTX blowing up, we had 50 employees.
Wow.
Most of them kind of focused on keeping the show going, and I didn't care about revenue anymore. Now it's, we've got 80 people. We tweet 24/7. We have the audio shows. We have different channels. We have different media assets. We have the video shows on X. So we have the biggest Spaces, but we have the biggest video shows as well now, politics and crypto. And then we have the incubation arm. We still incubate projects. That's where the money comes from. We invest in about 20 to 30 projects a week right now.
It says you've invested in 200 projects.
More now. So
wow.
200 since the last cycle. And right now it's about 20 to 30 projects that we invest in or work with. So it's 2 to 4 a day. And so that's the marketing, incubation, investment, and then the media side, which is also split into 3. Technically 2 main ones. Sports is a small one, but the main ones are crypto and AI and politics. Politics makes no money. And for that, I just want to impact the world and do things I enjoy. So having presidents, having prime ministers, having politicians, if there's a war, like yesterday we did the space, there's a lot of fear about Israel and Lebanon war. So we had politicians from Lebanon on stage. I wasn't there because I was filming the killer whales, but my team hosted it, a bunch of MPs, members of parliament in Lebanon
wow.
on stage. And then hours later, we had senators and congressmen to talk about the debate between Biden and Trump. So it's a lot more than, not only a lot more than crypto, but a lot more than just the US or the West. We cover issues today. We're going to cover Kenya and the riots that are happening there. So it's fascinating. It's countries I can't go to. I can't go to Brazil. They launched an investigation into Elon and me because of, they wanted to censor, remember Brazil wanted to censor things, censor a few opponents to the government. Elon's like, guys, I'm not going to do this. So they went after Elon. And I obviously supported Elon and, tweeted against them. And then I brought up the people that they wanted to censor on my stage. So they launched an investigation into Elon and put me in there because I had the people on my stage. So I can't go to Brazil. I can't go to Pakistan because we've had Imran Khan. I can't go to Ukraine. I can't go Russia 50-50, Israel, Lebanon. So just security or, the government doesn't like me.
So you're a target now. Okay, let's talk about the relationship with Elon Musk. Again, you went from crypto Spaces to literally being homies with Elon Musk. Please tell me about that. What is going on with that?
So it's very simple. He, engages with me and retweets my tweets. I think it's more of, I'm very active on the platform. I'm very loyal to the platform. I'm putting a lot of resources into building a media conglomerate, a media empire with a focus on X. 90% of our media assets are X-focused, Twitter-focused. And I think he sees value in that. We bring world leaders. If there's value in him joining, he'll join. So I think it's not, a personal relationship where, hey, I like you, Mario. Hey, I like you, Elon. No, I'm just a media company on his platform. He wants to bring more creators on the platform. And we're kind of, showing in a way how it's done or how it can be done for others to follow suit. So obviously I'm not going to talk about any private communication or anything like that, but more on a public level, I think it's just him engaging with one of the creators on the platform. And he's very engaged. There's another account called Doge Designer who tweets a lot about the platform, tweets facts about the platform. Elon engages with that. So I think for any creator looking at X, looking at a CEO that, or he's not a CEO anymore, but an owner of the platform that really cares to that level about creators. 3 days ago, there was an account called Visegrad, which is a big political account, one of the bigger ones. Us and Visegrad were the 2 biggest and one or two others, were bigger than mainstream media and the coverage of the Gaza war.
Wow.
And so Visegrad got suspended 3 days ago. So I just tweet out like, hey, why did Visegrad get suspended? That's it. And then within 5 minutes, Elon replies explaining why. And then it was a temporary suspension. It was for good reason. But
Why did they get suspended?
Because they posted some video of a kid getting assaulted in a very ugly way. And I think they posted video of it, I think, like based on Elon's explanation. So, but the fact that he responded explaining why one account out of hundreds of millions got suspended on the platform just shows kind of the level of care he has.
When do you think you will be hosting Donald Trump or Joe Biden on your space?
Joe Biden never. I'm sure he's not going to come on a space. His son came. It wasn't the best experience. It was all over Fox News. It was a shit show when Hunter Biden came. But I don't think Joe will come. Trump, I'm very confident he'll come. Obviously, there's, kind of difficulties right now with his deal with Truth Social. So until that is over, I don't think we'll be able to see Trump on the space. But till then, we'll see.
Would you do it outside of, how come it's almost like you're only X focused?
Yes, so two reasons. Number one, strategic. X is becoming the everything app. It's growing exponentially. The numbers are insane. The reach is insane. Our impressions right now, during the Gaza war, we had 2.4 billion impressions in a month, in 28 days. Right now, it's between 1 and 1.3 billion impressions a month, every month, since the war. So it's been, a year almost. So the reach is crazy. That's number one. Number two, I just feel like I owe it to Elon. I don't think I'll be where I am if Elon didn't come into my first space. And I think because of the experience he had on the first space, he came on I don't know how many now, 5, 6, 7 spaces. So I kind of feel like I owe it to the effort he's putting, fighting free speech, fighting for free speech. So I want to support that cause. Because I've seen the impact of censorship as well. Like I've seen how content that we have on... So when we bring two sides on Twitter to discuss COVID or to discuss different wars, or to discuss, Democrats versus Republicans, a lot of that content gets censored on YouTube, gets censored on TikTok, Meta. So, I see the value of having both sides come together. So I'm fighting for that cause. I feel loyal to Elon because of the support he's given us in the early stages. And also from a strategic business perspective, it just makes sense. The numbers are growing month after month. And I kind of urge every creator to look into X a bit further. It's very different to other social media platforms. Cracking it is small bits and pieces. Once you learn them, you get a lot of traction. But once you get those little tricks, growing on X is very lucrative.
What do you think about Elon spending pretty much, I guess, billions of dollars for freedom of speech?
Look, he spent that for freedom of speech, yes. But he's also a very, very freaking smart business person. Can I curse if I do it accidentally? Perfect.
Well, we're putting it on X, so we can. We're not going to get...
Perfect. So he's very, very intelligent. Acquiring X and the amount of data that it will have is perfect for XAI, for his AI company. So he's going to have all that user data for his AI company. He's going to have his image as well as improved drastically. He's seen as the man fighting for free speech. Like out of the top 10 or top 20 richest people in the world, I don't think any of them are even loved, let alone compared to Elon. Elon's seen us in such a positive way in the West and globally. And the reason for that is, one of the reasons for that is like his obsession with fighting for free speech and going through the difficult path. Like when Brazil wanted to sue him, he went after them. He took that battle. Just yesterday, CNN said that they're going to sue anyone that streams on X. So what did Elon say? Say, guys, I'm not going to abide by any DMCA requests. YouTube did, Meta did. And Twitter's like, no, I'm going to fight it. So I think it makes business sense, getting all that data from X. And then it makes... I think it makes financial sense because the way he's doing it and the way he's positioned X as the champion for free speech, users are going to continue flocking to it. And thirdly, the everything app. There is no WeChat in the West like there is in China. And once you use WeChat, so I used it a few years ago when I have another company and we import a lot from China. So about 10 years ago, I used to use WeChat. It's a whole different experience. Imagine everything you use from Deliveroo or Uber Eats to Uber to obviously WhatsApp and the rest of it, social media, all on one app. That's what WeChat is, and that's what Elon's trying to do. So I think it makes business sense as well. He's not donating money to free speech. He's helping free speech, but with a business cap on.
Can you teach me about the Twitter files and what happened, kind of from like a Gen Z Zoomer perspective? Because I feel like everything happened And it all like ties together. Like all the worlds are colliding. I felt like before, you know, if you weren't into politics, you could kind of like get away with it, or maybe not be like, if you weren't as educated, you know, somebody like me, like I dabble, but I was like, oh, you know, you bring politics to the party. It's like, it's boring or it ruins it. But right now it's like things are heating up.
Everything is politicized. So Twitter Files was fascinating. I got an inside view of how speech is controlled. So I was interviewing John Deaton yesterday, a Ripple lawyer. He's running against Elizabeth Warren.
Wow.
Great guy. We work with him as well. So I was interviewing him and he's talking about CBDCs. So essentially the government will control your money.
Yeah.
Okay. Now CBDCs are great because it's very efficient. You remove the middle person, you remove fees, but it's terrible because you've centralized power. You've allowed control for the governments of your money. So they can easily switch off your wallet. Imagine you want to go spend something, they don't like it. Your money's all frozen. They could do that. No more cash. So I was having dinner with someone yesterday who's very, very, very discreet. Doesn't want to, remember these boxes, I forgot what they call them. You put your phone in it and you close it so no one can hear it. The phone, like Apple or anyone can't hear it. He has those boxes for all his stuff. He's got security and he just pays for cash for everything. That wouldn't exist anymore. So people like him could be immediately frozen. Their finances frozen. So how does that link to the Twitter Files? Well, John Deaton was talking about the control of money. The Twitter Files is a control of speech. So you hear all the time like free speech, we're being censored. We're like, yeah, I'm chill. You're chill until you get censored. A lot of people that are censored, immediately in my mind, I'm like, they might have said some crazy shit. Then I started reading about what they said or who these people are. I'm like, this is a Harvard professor giving an educated opinion. Or the lab leak theory. Do you remember now everyone agrees that the likelihood of COVID having come out of a lab in China, in Wuhan, is a very likely scenario. I've got different 3-letter agencies, US government agencies saying, hey, this is a plausible scenario. Most likely scenario even. I used to be one of the people that believed it was a conspiracy theory. Anyone that mentioned it would get censored. So that means the government or whoever it was government, with Fauci's guidance, who was incentivized to mislead, they were not letting anyone talk about the truth. It was genuinely the truth. And I'm a very pragmatic person. I'm like, fuck, like, this is a very basic thing to speak about. Yet if you spoke about it on the social media platforms, you get censored. You're like, okay, cool, yeah, who cares if you're censored on social media? That's your identity frozen. Like, what are we if we don't have WhatsApp, if we don't have, Tate is a perfect example. Love him or hate him, he got banned out of everything from Uber to Airbnb to his Uber and Airbnb to his bank accounts to social media platforms. It's like someone coming to you right now, and me and you travel a lot. Imagine someone coming to you and taking your passport. Then you have no identity left. So Twitter Files was an example of this and kind of dug into why that was happening. Part of it was corruption and part of it was just bias, which no one can avoid. I try my best to be unbiased on my show. It's impossible to be perfectly unbiased. But when you're a social media platform, you got like essentially 2-3 social media platforms that control speech. Like if I removed Instagram, I removed Twitter, and I removed Meta. So Instagram, Facebook. I removed Meta, I removed YouTube, and I removed Twitter, X, from your phone and WhatsApp because it's part of Meta. What's left? Like if it feels like your wife has been wiped. So these social media platforms are kind of no longer companies, and they're essentially kind of town halls for people to speak. They're replacing the concept of speaking face to face. I never speak to anyone face to face. I'm extremely antisocial. So you remove those platforms from my phone, I don't exist anymore. Oh. So this is the power they have. And Twitter Files kind of dug into how people got censored. The Krasensteins, people love to hate them. They're complete liberals. They were censored. Their accounts got suspended. And I think now it's really impactful. Give it another 5 years, as we go into the whole metaverse, whatever you want to call it, everything's going to be virtual. And with AI companies centralizing even more power, you've got massive centralization of power in the world, and that's just a very concerning, very concerning path that we're taking. And these social media platforms have massive power over us.
What do you think about the other social media platforms during, let's say, a time like war, like with the Israel-Gaza war, TikTok, and all that, just viewing a war from social media?
Yeah, so social media platforms, we were the biggest platform to cover the Gaza war, to cover the Russian mutiny, and we were one of the biggest for other news. And, so I can tell you my own experience. what we try to do is get both sides together. Okay, so we had spaces where we had Palestinians during the bombing. You could hear the bombing in the background, and we had IDF soldiers, Israeli soldiers and pilots on stage together. So it's a very emotional experience. You've got people that are being bombed and people that are bombing. Whatever, it doesn't matter where you stand on the whole debate. So that was what we did. But what happens on social media is, people are biased. So you just have that massive polarization. So you could go down the path of deciding what to censor and what not to censor. And then now you'll become the arbiter of truth, which is what Meta and TikTok and TikTok, Meta, and what's the last one? Twitter, Meta, TikTok,
Instagram,
YouTube, are doing. So they've decided to be the arbiter of truth and decide what's true, what's not, what can be talked about, what cannot be talked about. Or you can go down the path that Elon took. It's like, hey, I'm going to let people, as long as it's not illegal, I let people share their opinion. People agree with them, great. People don't, great. And what happens with that model, which I think is the better model, is that you have massive clashes. And you have what Robert Kennedy, when I interviewed him a few weeks ago, what his concern was, is the kind of the algorithms are kind of leading to more polarization. Because what happens is, if I like a certain topic, the algorithms will feed me information based on that topic. So if you're anti-Hamas, very heavily anti-Hamas and very pro-Israeli, even anti-Palestinian, you'll be fed all that information, true or not, including some false information of why Palestinians are all horrible, or vice versa. If you're anti-Israeli, you'll feed all that information on why Israelis or Zionism, all that movement. So then you start getting deeper and deeper into that hole, into that echo chamber. That's kind of a point of concern that I think algorithmically social media platforms need to pay attention to without becoming the arbiter of truth. I try to play a small part in this by bringing both sides together. So we have Israelis and Arabs on our channel. We have pro-Ukrainians, pro-Russians. We have liberals and conservatives. Like yesterday we did the debate. We had 2 co-hosts, 2 main ones, 4. So kind of swapping over. It was a long space. Danish, who's a liberal. Sarah, who's a liberal. Rob Nelson, who's a conservative. And Suleiman, who's more of a conservative. So it's kind of, it tried to keep it as balanced as possible. And the panel was the same as well. So we try to kind of bring both sides together, but there is that algorithmic war that's happening. So when you're covering things like wars, algorithmically, I feel like it's leading to more polarization. I just don't know what the solution is, but it's definitely not censorship.
So interesting. What has been your conclusion hearing, the IDF soldiers talk, hearing people in Palestine? Like, what was your conclusion after that? Because that must have been very emotional.
We have a lot more in common. I was saying it in an interview yesterday, 2 days ago. Humans have a lot more in common than you'd think. We're so much more similar. Like, I talked to the Krassensteins, for example. I'll use people, something more relevant to the US. Talk to the Krassensteins. I've known them for a while. And they're the most hated liberals on X, on Twitter. Very nice people. Then I talk to the people that hate them. There's too many to name, so I won't sit there naming them. And they attack them all the time, and Krassensteins hate each other. Some of the nicest people. Now, I work with both of them. So they were in a group together. So on Twitter, they're attacking each other. And then I made a group because I have a group where all the key people that come on my space, we're all together in a group. I've got a few of them. And they start chatting together. They become friends. I'm like, shit. You look on Twitter, they look like arch enemies that would kill each other. But like Nick Sortor and Krassensteins. Nick Sortor is an extreme Trump supporter. Krassensteins are Trump haters. And then on Twitter, they look like complete enemies. But when you have in the group, they're friends now. They chat, they joke, they have photos together. And that's a perfect example of how we are more similar. There's more similarities between us people than there are differences. And it's something that's hard to kind of really relate to in the US and in the world. But let's use the US as an example. Considering how polarized things have become, it's just sad and it's extremely concerning. And you can go down the alarmist path of, Kennedy again said, RFK said, like, we're the most polarized that we've been since the Civil War. And me saying those things, I am not an alarmist. So for a non-alarmist to say this, you should be alarmed.
Okay, well, so I should be alarmed. So then now what? What do I do? What's going to happen if Trump doesn't win? What's going to happen if Biden wins? What are your thoughts? It's okay. So as I said, I'm not an alarmist. I think it will be. I don't know. It won't be something very. A lot of people are saying it's going to be a revolution. It's going to be riots, etc. I think people will come to terms with it. I don't see how Biden could win. I think he's going to be swapped.
it doesn't make sense if he's not. But let's say he's not and he wins. I think that eventually people will come to terms with it. They've got 4 years and they can vote him out. So we are living in a democracy, in a very imperfect democracy, but it's a democracy nonetheless. And presidents have term limits. So I think it'll be fine, but it'll be another step in a very scary direction, another step in a polarized direction. What concerns me is what could happen in 5 to 10 years from now. There's a movie called Civil War. I don't know if you've watched it.
I didn't see it.
I want to check it out. I haven't seen it yet, but I want to check it out because I want to kind of... Some things seem hard to believe, unfathomable. But when the Ukraine war happened and the war in Gaza, but mainly the Ukraine war, when that happened, I'm like, shit. And the mutiny happened, I'm like, anything is possible. Ukraine war, you had the biggest country in Europe, which is Ukraine, and then Russia, the biggest nuclear power, in war. And now you're at a stage where the biggest country in Europe is being supplied by the biggest military in Europe, in the world, US, and a bunch of other allies supplying weaponry to Ukraine that's using those weapons to attack. So you got two nuclear powers essentially fighting each other, one indirectly through Ukraine and one directly. If you told me that's going to happen 2 years ago, I'm like, you're freaking crazy.
Wow.
But then now we're at a very concerning part, and I interview a lot of people in that world, and I'm interviewing a lot more, where we could end up heading towards a potential nuclear conflict, something that I never thought we'd be even talking about. So if that's possible, the US going down a dangerous path is possible. And the only reason I say this is I think we just really gotta act on not the hate, not kind of entrenching ourselves in our positions, but more fighting the things that are leading to it. Having term limits on the powers that be that don't have term limits, holding the media accountable when they lead to more hate, they lead to more polarization, and listening to the other side on social media and supporting platforms like X and pressuring platforms like Meta and YouTube to follow suit and to follow X's footsteps in censoring less and being less biased and being less corrupt, because they are putting fuel on that fire. And I'm just worried that fire could get out of control.
From the last election, is it correct? Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but was there some algorithmic bias in regards to the election towards the left political party?
100%. Twitter files proved it. 100%. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not on the right. I'm not on the left. And I could tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, there was. Whether you hate Trump or even liberals would tell you there was bias. And you could see that. Remember, Elon went extreme. He leaked all the communication within ex-employees. There was bias. And there still is. Not on X. Some people now say X is more right-leaning. I say it's finally in the middle. But on the other platforms, less than before, because now they're kind of worried. X is showing people what free speech feels like. It's been such a long time we haven't had a taste of that. So they're a bit concerned. And I had Mark Andreessen on the show, and I always use one thing he said to me. He's like, Mario, he's a board member on both Meta and Twitter. Twitter at the time, X now. And he said, Mario, Meta is watching the experiment, Elon's experiment with X, the free speech experiment. They're watching very closely. In other words, they're copying things that work, and they're worried that it could work. And it is working. They already copied a whole bunch of things that Elon did. They copied community notes, decentralized fact-checking. They copied the whole blue checkmark thing on Instagram. And now they're copying something new. I can't remember what it was. And they're being more careful on what they censor and what they don't censor. They're being more careful to kind of not go too extreme down the censorship path as they did before. So we are seeing change.
Random conspiracy question, but do you think that Joe Biden is a lizard?
No.
No.
No. He's not a lizard. He'd probably do a better job in the debate if he was. No, jokes aside. But he's not a lizard for sure.
What's the craziest conspiracy going on with you right now?
Oh, about me?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. So now there was a lot during the war in Gaza. So it goes back. Before I was a lot more private than I am now. Now I do an interview here and there every few months. So and then post the video out so people see, all right, cool, there is a person there. There was a period where people didn't believe I existed. There was another period, it still pops up here and there that I'm an asset to the FBI, to the CIA. I get that sometimes. About a year ago, I'll tell you the things I've been.
Okay.
I was a Russian asset, and that's the perceptions of me. I was a Ukrainian asset. I was a liberal spy. I'm a Trump supporter, Trump ally. I'm an Israeli spy. I'm Mossad. I'm part of Hezbollah. I'm a Hezbollah sympathizer. So it's like complete extremes. What else is there? There was part where like I'm involved with FTX, with SBF. There was a rumor. I'm being investigated by authorities. There's no investigation. And there's smaller ones, but that everyone in crypto goes through. Like I've scammed projects, I've scammed people, but that's everyone in crypto that has a big name goes through that, which is nothing major. But these are, I'd say, the main ones. I'm sure there's some other big ones, and then of course there's the crazy ones, but I completely ignore those. Like I'm an AI person, but that's me not existing. And then you go down the complete crazy path. I'm part of the Illuminati, and they started putting proof on why. You know, like I was sitting. There was a photo of me. I still somewhere online where I'm sitting like this. I've always sat like this, yeah? With my hands like this. Now, anyone that knows...
What is that? It's Andrew Tate and does that too.
He started doing it as well, thanks Tate. But so it's the Illuminati sign. Now, Tate is playing with it on purpose to get people riled up. And, you know, Tate is kind of fighting the whole establishment. I always like to sit like this. And body language is like a position of authority.
Yeah.
But then I sat a bit too much like this. So people clip this. And they started saying it's proof that Mario is part of the Illuminati. So yeah, I do have that, but you know, it's normal.
Let's talk about the rumors. So there was early on, back when you were doing the crypto spaces, more crypto space focus, there was rumors that you were botting your spaces. Is that true or not?
No, it's not true. Otherwise, I'd have my account banned by now. So there's rumors that I bought. There's a lot of these crypto rumors that came out. So I can go through them and address them one by one. So one of them is the botting one. Has been debunked extensively now. We've posted so many things, including independent reports, to dispel that. So that's the first one that was dispelled. The second one is we were pump and dumpers. That was another one. What people don't know is how conservative I am, or at least I was. Now a bit more aggressive. In the first cycle, 2017, it was the ICO hype. That's the first time tokens for startups came up, and everyone was accepting tokens and making money. I was strict in not accepting tokens at all. I lost a lot of potential money I could have made. In the last cycle, I didn't touch NFTs in the bull market. Most people, new people made money in NFTs. I didn't touch them because too pump and dumpish. So it's very conservative. Now, how did those rumors start? All the projects we invested in, when the bear market happened, everything dropped 95%. Now, people in crypto understand that, yeah, every project, 100%, there's no exceptions. Every project that launched in the last bull market dropped above 80 to 90% minimum. Most of them, 90% plus. But most people outside of crypto don't know that. So they make the assumption, oh shit, look at Mario. All the projects he worked with or invested in dropped. Not knowing that 100% of projects did in crypto. So that's the whole pump and dump rumors. And as a VC, our tokens are locked. So that means when the market, when the projects drop in value, our tokens are still held with them. We didn't get them all. We didn't sell them. So we struggled as well. We lost a lot of money. But people don't know that. So that's the second one. So there's the botting one, the pump and dump one. Then there is the scam one, but no one's ever mentioned one scam. Not one. And the beautiful thing about crypto is everything's on the blockchain. So it's very easy to prove or disprove. That's the third one that the crypto people love to do. So these are three. And then the fourth one was the crazy one when the NBC put out the hit piece. So if you Google me and put NBC, there's a story. I want us to keep it there. It's like a badge of honor. It says Mario Nawfal, FBI and SEC respond to complaints about Mario Nawfal. So now obviously everyone kind of takes that and exaggerates.
Runs with it, yeah.
So responding to complaints, I can call the FBI right now and say, hey, I have news that Mika has a bomb and she's in the airport. They're like, who's Mika? They responded to a complaint.
Wow.
So that's how easy it is to do it. And then the writer is like an anti-Elon journalist. He writes every week something negative about Elon. So he kind of used that to bring down Elon. It was right after the mutiny when I blew up and I came. It was exactly a year ago
Wow.
that it came out. And but then we debunked that. Turns out not only did they not respond, there's obviously no investigation. They didn't even respond to complaints. The people that responded to complaints, the article said FBI and SEC. It was an ex-FBI agent that responded to a mentally unwell person that fabricated a crazy story. And the SEC was just a fake private call. I know the person who did it. They've admitted to doing it. Under duress, they were threatened, etc., to do it. And they faked the call. There was no SEC response to a complaint. So essentially, the whole story is false. But obviously, crypto Twitter loves to blow something up. So they blow things up. So these are the kind of the 4 rumors that I face on X, at least for now, in the crypto world.
Where are you from, if I could ask? Like, where were you born?
Oh, I was born in Lebanon.
Okay.
So that's where I know about the concept of polarization. It's a very polarized country. And then I migrated to Australia as a child. So I lived most of my life in Australia. It's like a very peaceful life. And then about 6 years ago, I started traveling. 7 years ago, I started traveling the world. And then now, as of 2 years ago, I live in Dubai.
And what did you do prior to
Crypto?
Yeah.
I launched a company about 10 years ago called Froothie, F-R-O-O-T-H-I-E. A lot of people still recognize it.
Kitchen appliance company.
Yeah, exactly. Health and wellness kitchen appliances still exists in about 20 countries. So it's a large company, does really well. I don't touch it, I don't manage it, but I'm the sole shareholder. And it does extremely well. It's a very successful brand that I built and got into crypto in 2017. Ironically, funny enough, so when they did the second hit piece on me, linking Froothie, and I swear it's so funny. So after the first hit piece, the FBI and SEC, so I'll go back to that because it's actually a funny story and links to Froothie. So the journalist, I didn't talk about this too much. The journalist assumed that, hey, there must be something there. So they were planning a second article based on the same source. It's one source that said the whole story. Mm-hmm. The FBI SEC fabrication was all one source that admitted on record, we recorded them, they admitted that they lied, and they said why they lied. Yeah.
Wow.
They admitted to lie to the...
How did you even get into this type of conversation?
Private investigators for a whole month. Yeah. So we hired private investigators for that. And we managed to call... He's done it before. The source has done it before. I won't call out who they are out of respect, but... Anyway, so we have records and stuff of them saying some, parts of them published already on Twitter, and about 80% of them we haven't published because there's no need to. They admitted to fabricating the whole thing. Now, so NBC was like excited, the journalist, not NBC, it's just one journalist. He's excited, he's like, all right, cool, I got the story, FBI and SEC looking into Mario, and the things that the guy told them is like, Mario is a spy, Mario's money launderer, Mario works with SBF, Mario just fabricated all that crazy shit. And the journalist initially believed him. Then after the first hit piece, and we contacted the journalist, sent him, hey, bro, like, all this is false. This is your source. They're unwell. The journalist admitted on record saying, okay, my source is not reliable.
Wow.
My story is dead, because they were looking at coming with a 4-piece story, like a whole expose. They did one piece, they stopped it. But he needed to come up with a second one. So he's trying to figure out, it took him a month and a half to come up with the second piece of the story. From the FBI and SEC and Mario's a criminal and all this, to... The second piece was about, Mario owed someone $800 from 5 years ago. Mario's company, Froothie, the biggest thing they found was my company, Froothie, was fined $10,000, it makes millions a year, was fined $10,000 9 years ago as like a big bad thing. I'm like, yeah, it was fined 10,000 Australian dollars, which is like 7,000 US dollars, because we left the product discounted for too long. Like, look how stupid this is. 8 years ago when I was new in business, even 9 years ago, my second year in business, my company's doing really well. I didn't know there's rules on how long you can leave a product discounted. So I left it discounted for too long. I got fined 10,000 Australian dollars and that's it, which is what we make more in half a day. And moved on. And then look how they dig up shit from your past. 8 years later, because I'm doing these big shows on X, they go back, this journalist goes back, can't find anything on me, goes back to, hey, Mario's a bad businessman because his company got fined 10,000 Australian dollars. It was fucking ridiculous. So I realized how ugly the media is. And just so you know, I've had my family recorded. I've had my friends recorded. I've had my employees recorded. I've had my computers hacked. I have security with me. Even now in Dubai, I have security as of 2 weeks ago. Countries I don't go to for security purposes. Everything is disappearing messages. You know how we created a group together? It's automatic disappearing messages on WhatsApp. Did you notice?
Yeah.
Yep. Reason for that. We got all our stuff leaked last year. Everything.
Wow.
All our financials, all our messages, private discussions.
What do you mean leaked?
The media had access. The media, to come up with that hit piece, they had access to everything. That's why I say to people, I'm like, do you want to know how kosher I am? These guys had access to everything of mine, every single conversation.
How did they get access?
They had people record me. They had people record people I've worked with. They had people record a screenshot of my WhatsApp. Obviously, we use Signal now. Even Signal is not safe enough. So yeah, so I'm like, all this stuff is in the public, and all they could come up with is, Mario owes someone $800. We don't, by the way, or $1,000, whatever it is. 5 years ago, Mario's company got fined $10,000 9 years ago. That's all I could find, which shows like how conservative I am and how I try to be careful not to fuck up in life. But it also shows how the death of privacy sucks, and that's what I'm going through. And it's getting worse and worse. Every time we interview some controversial person, Imran Khan from Pakistan, I don't go to Pakistan. Bolsonaro from Brazil, I don't go to Brazil. We're about to interview someone later this year in Europe. Some places in Europe I probably won't be able to go to anymore.
Wow.
So it's kind of this new life. This is why I have two lives. I have the crypto one, which I actually like, despite it being pretty brutal, which is more business focused, etc. And 1 + 1 = 2. And then you've got the political one, which is kind of a messed up world that I navigate.
So you travel with security, like all of this stuff is happening. Like, what do you think, who is trying to come get you? Like what?
Yeah, so
this is so interesting, by the way. Like I'm at the edge of my seat, like trying to figure out what's going to happen.
Look, there's stories I've been through that I had to I've had my girlfriend's lives threatened. I've had the location of one of my family members online leaked. When I go to hotels, I have to always go as incognito. No one knows I'm doing this interview here. I haven't posted about it publicly. I'll post about it as soon as I leave. So I'm always careful of that front. But then your question is who? And there's no like one central group that is like they're after Mario. I know some people like to believe that. It's multiple. Like in Pakistan, even though Pakistan is a beautiful country, it's the current administration, the current president and the army. The army controls the country. There's a guy called Imran Khan. He was the prime minister. He's in jail now. He went to jail a few weeks after my interview with him.
Wow.
And he's loved there more than Trump is or Biden is or anyone is in the US. Probably the most loved. If you want to compare him to someone in the US, he's as popular as John Kennedy was in the US. He's that popular in Pakistan. People love him. So whenever I meet any Pakistani anywhere in the world, they know I interviewed Imran Khan. They treat me like I'm royalty. That's how much they love him. So interviewing him, he's very controversial. Put me on the hit list. Brazil is the best example. Brazil is a beautiful country. I love Brazil.
Yeah.
I can't go to Brazil.
Wow.
Because of the Elon thing. I don't know if I mentioned it on this interview. I think I did earlier or we talked about it privately. But Elon, they sent censorship requests to Elon to say, hey, these journalists, these politicians, you can't have on your stage because blah, blah, blah. They gave some reasons on why they should be censored. Elon's like, no, that's an unlawful request. It was a Supreme Court justice that put out that request. He's like, it's an unlawful request. I will not abide by it. Now, obviously, I'm going to support Elon and the cause. So I tweet about it and I'm like also not supporting it. We do a big space. We bring in all the politicians, including the people they want suspended. So they launched an investigation into Elon. It's all over the news and they add me to that investigation.
Wow.
And then so I doubled down. So the former president, Bolsonaro, which is also very popular, 55% support, or 45 to 55% support in the country. He was the president in the last few years ago. The incumbent president is targeting him. He's worried about going to jail. Bolsonaro is concerned about going to jail. His allies have been hunted down. And so I get Bolsonaro on my stage, okay, a month ago or so, month and a half ago. You'd think it was just him joining. He's the former president. He'll join from his account. He was worried about joining from his account because he'll face legal trouble. So he had to join through a friend's account. And then that wasn't enough. His Wi-Fi gets cut off. So then he talked about it. He connected to Starlink.
Wow.
Elon's Starlink, so he can access my Twitter. So what did the government do then? They blocked they blocked Twitter Spaces from Brazil. Yeah, completely. Spaces couldn't be accessed. So the only way people could go into the space and listen from Brazil was through VPN. And you could see it there's like these tracking websites that tracked the big spike. And it's like a DDoS attack that happened in Brazil. So it's like this guy is a former president. And yet his internet was cut. He was scared to go in from his account. And his Wi-Fi was, he's scared from his Wi-Fi was cut. And then eventually the platform itself, the Spaces, was blocked. So it kind of gives you an idea of censorship going out of control. So yeah, Brazil is another beautiful country, one of a few that I don't go to.
So this is beyond cancel culture. Like this is, beyond cancel culture. I mean, can we talk about cancel culture? Like, does it exist anymore? Like, how do you think we've evolved?
Well, I've been through it. Of course it exists. It's getting worse. I've been through it. Like when I blew up, people that knew nothing about me, whenever there's any rumor that anyone fabricates anything about me, they just jump on that story, all excited. Mm-hmm. And like the only way we kind of nipped it in the bud was initially I ignored it. And they're trying to cancel. Go extreme. Like they're tagging Elon, Mario this, Mario that. And you have to freak out Elon. They tag other people. They tag our speakers. Again, that was a year ago. The only way to kind of stop it, and that's why I respect countries like the US, is you got a legal system for a reason. It's like if someone lies about you knowingly and tries to bring you down and hurt you, you can sue them. So the only way we finally resolved this was suing people that fabricated stories about us. If someone wants to shit on my moderation skills, my business practices, they don't like me, free speech. I love that. And I love being challenged. I love being attacked. I love a good debate. But when someone fabricates a story knowingly and kind of starts leaking it online to harm your business, you have to go through legal means. We went through that, and that's one of the core reasons on why the hate completely stopped. But then I start to think thankfully I have the money to go down that path. What if someone that doesn't have that capital and they have their character assassinated like I did? They can't fight it legally. And there's many stories of people that have gone through it. They just give up. They're like blowing up, etc. Everyone goes after them. They don't like them for whatever reason. It's usually jealousy. They're like, I can't fight it. The rumors kind of took a life of their own. People believe that about me. So they just gave up. And which is heartbreaking. It's just sad to see. Like, it's sad to see, especially me. Like, I was a crypto person. I was a proud crypto person. And I was, covering all these political issues. With my CryptoPunk PFP.
I remember.
I kept it. I removed it before the Imran Khan interview because it's, when you have prime ministers and stuff, they don't want to see a cartoon. But I got pissed off. I'm like, guys, like, I'm not making money from these shows, the political ones. That
was one of the rumors, that you were making tons of money and that you were botting everything.
We are making tons of money, but not on the shows. We've been making tons of money since 2017.
Yeah.
When I got the hate piece, I genuinely said, like, do I need this? What am I benefiting? My business is doing extremely well. I've been doing extremely well since 2017. We've incubated projects. We've invested in projects. We've marketed projects. We've advised projects. I'm really chill. So I genuinely considered if it's all worth it. Then when we got out of it and we turned out to be stronger, and now I'm even bigger, and once you go through your big phase of hate, as Karen Ritchie told me, you become kind of not indestructible, but your skin will will grow 1000x. And we went through that. So now it's just a lot harder to attack me because there's nothing else. Everything's been thrown at me. There's nothing else to throw. But just taking a step back, I'm like, I have a CryptoPunk. I'm interviewing these politicians with a CryptoPunk. I'm talking positively about crypto in the midst of a bear market when everyone's shitting on crypto. Yep. And then instead of crypto coming, rallying, say, hey, like, this guy's bringing awareness to our industry. Maybe let's not just immediately hate on him. Let's research those rumors. Let's research those claims. Is he really X, Y, Z? Because a bit of research would easily disprove everything. Because we put out a whole report, 15-page report, every single claim, and then transaction hashes, explanations, screenshots, screen recordings, disproving everything. We put that out. No one cared to go through it. They just wanted to hate me. I'm like, fuck this. Yeah. Like, it just pissed me off. Instead of, like, not for my own benefit, for the industry's benefit. It'd be nice to see a fucking person with a CryptoPunk interviewing the leader of a country.
Yep.
It's just good for the industry. Love me or hate me. So that kind of really triggered me. But it comes with the game. Like, I was talking with a former Trump advisor 2 days ago. I was having dinner with him. And what I went through is nothing compared to what he went through. Like, his wife was painted as a spy. He was he was jailed for a few months. No, only 2 weeks. Trump pardoned him. But he was jailed for 2 weeks. And he's one of many of Trump's circle that was targeted. And his character was completely assassinated. I'm like, Jesus, what I went through is nothing compared to what he went through. Probably what he went through is nothing compared to what Imran Khan or Bolsonaro or others are going through. And you start to realize it's embedded in us. And then social media makes it a lot easier because anyone could come up with a crazy story, target someone that doesn't have the money to sue, and just destroy everything they've built. Especially in crypto during the FTX days. Whenever someone sees the name FBI and SEC with their name, even if it's fabricated or even if something is, even the claim itself is bullshit, responding to complaints, no one really looks into it. They're like, FBI, SEC, Mario, SBF just happened recently. That's scary, and they move away because everyone was like really worried about anyone in crypto being a scammer. That was a perception outside of crypto. So these things hurt back then. Now, obviously, it's irrelevant.
What do you think about Andrew Tate coming into the crypto space and kind of the the movement that you're laughing. I mean, with the token that I can't say the name of that he launched, and just like that whole thing, and him being canceled, him, going to jail, and everything that they're saying about him. What do you think about him?
Extremely smart guy. Extremely smart guy. I swear. He's a good guy as well.
Would you interview him?
100%. He's a really chill guy. I was meant to interview him before he was arrested.
Oh.
So we had a booked interview in Dubai to meet. I'm going to ping him again to interview him. I'll fly out to Romania and interview him because he's a really interesting character. So well spoken. But I had a booked interview. Me and Rand, Crypto Banter, were going to interview him a week after he got arrested. And he went to jail. Obviously, the interview didn't happen and now he can't travel to Dubai. I haven't been to Romania in years. I used to go there a lot. But yeah, it would be a great interview. So first, I had a perception of him. Personality-wise, we're not the same.
Yeah.
Sorry. His image versus my personality is not the same. Because his image is different to him as a person behind the scenes. So his image is something like the way he talks about women, he's like a strong alpha male.
Right.
I'm a sucker when it comes to women. I see a woman with one tear, I don't care what she did. Immediately, I like freak out. So I'm that type of person. Very different to Tate. So I had a wrong perception of him. When he was arrested, I'm like, I try to be unbiased, but I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's true based on the image he's created and the things that leaked. Then I dug into it. I'm like, holy shit. Is another example of a character being assassinated. I'm like, this poor guy, love him or hate him, was completely cancelled. Look where he is today. It's mental. Completely cancelled. Character destroyed. And I went to fucking jail. The sources were terrible. The ones I've seen so far were horrible. The evidence against him, from what I've seen, obviously I've spoken to lawyers and stuff, was very, very weak. And the deeper I looked into it, I realized, I'm like, holy shit, this is another example of someone getting cancelled. It just didn't add up. Unless there's something I don't know, it didn't add up. Now, you link it to the question now, and here I got into crypto. What a comeback. Like, he's obviously... We have a different strategy in crypto. We're more of a VC. We work with a lot of meme coins. I believe in meme coins, but I don't do the whole hyping up a token, knowing that it could go to zero. Right. It's always a risk there. No matter how well of a job you do, meme coins are meme coins. So we tend to work with bigger meme coins. We partner with smaller ones that blow up. We launched a few as well. So we're deep in that space.
Yeah.
We're similar to Tate. I can't sit there criticizing him. We're deep in that space. But we're more, like I'd say 80% of our business, 90% of our business is backing startups. We invest in dozens of projects a month. That's my business model.
Well, his meme coin was a name.
The N-word, yeah?
Yeah. And like he keeps kind of like repeating it and I don't know. I just wanted your thoughts on again, freedom of speech and where do you, is there a line to draw?
No. You don't like him, block him. Him or anyone else. You don't like someone, just block them because... Everyone has their own line, but who determines what that line is? As soon as you give someone the power to determine what that line is, they're going to abuse that power. The power corrupts. Even good people get corrupted by power. I'm a big opponent of centralized power. Doesn't matter if it's a good person or a bad person, because let's say there's a leader, incredible leader that has absolute power and is doing a great job. What happens if their kids are not as great of leaders? And they have that level of power. So no one should draw that line. Now, where do you draw that line with Tate? It's far from it. I think what Tate is saying is not even close to as harmful as false information to destroy the character of someone like John Deaton right now is going after Elizabeth Warren. I'm talking about him because I interviewed him. Oh, let's go with Kennedy. Let's use another example. RFK, I interviewed him. The way the media destroyed his character is ridiculous. That's significantly more harmful to the world than Tate talking about some N-word token. And in terms of his crypto strategy, he's building a community. He's doing it through a crazily worded, a crazily named token. Good for him. Could this become a $1 billion token? Maybe. Could it go to zero? Maybe. But he's experimenting. He's building something. He's freaking dominating the industry. So I might disagree with a lot of the things he says. But from a business perspective, whoever's advising him, they're killing it.
Do you ever draw the line on who you would talk to? Let's say, for example, if Hitler was alive today, would you interview him?
100%.
Yeah.
There's nobody I wouldn't interview, including people I despise. Because I think as soon as you cut that line of communication, it's only going to lead to worse. Obviously, I can't go back in the past, and Hitler's probably people will just cut this and use it in different ways because it's a very, not probably the worst person to talk about. But I'm not going to shy away from it. If you interview someone... let me actually shy away from Hitler. Let me use some existing examples. Yeah. If you interview Putin,
right?
The West hates Putin. What's the alternative? Going to war with Putin, risking nuclear conflict? Like, what's the alternative to talking to someone that controls the country that has the most nuclear warhead stockpile? The dangers of not engaging significantly outweigh the costs of engaging with people that should not be platformed. Maybe there's a good argument for people not to be platformed. There's an extremely good argument for Hitler not to be platformed. Extremely good argument for such a terrible person not to be platformed. But what is the cost of that? World War II should be the answer. Now, I'm not saying dialogue would have stopped that, but dialogue at least has a chance to stop that. I'm not sure if you're in a relationship, but let's say you've been in a relationship, yes? And you've had friendships go sour, some good go well. I've managed hundreds of employees across my companies. I've learned one thing. Dialogue solves most of the problems, whether it's with your spouse, with your friend, with your family, or with your employees or colleagues. It works wonders. I've had people that want to quit. I hate that other employee, that colleague, I'm going to quit. Like, let me put you guys together. Let's just have a three-way conversation. We talk. Literally, by the end of the day, they're friends.
Wow.
That's on a smaller scale. On a bigger scale, putting these people together, it could lead places. It's not the solution to all the world's problems, but it's definitely a big part of it.
That's beautiful. It really is. Citizen journalism, everything that you're doing.
Yeah, look, there's things that we're planning. I think we've already had massive impact on some countries.
Yeah.
The US less than countries like Palestine, Lebanon, Israel, Ukraine, Russia, Brazil, Pakistan. These countries we've had a much bigger impact on considering our coverage. But there's things that we're planning that are in the works right now. And these things that bring me pleasure. Like, again, I'm a business person, so crypto and AI is my biggest focus. We incubate AI companies as well. So that's my biggest focus from a business perspective. But on a personal level, there are certain discussions and dialogues that are going to be happening on our platforms this year that it's going to be so satisfying when it happens, that will genuinely have an impact on the world and that will genuinely go into the history books. And that excites me so much. Obviously, I can't disclose much, but that excites me so much and where this could go. That I don't need to monetize the political shows. I think the satisfaction you get from actually having that level of impact is like, just today I was you saw that video of me doing the AI thing of me.
Yeah, what were you doing?
That's what I'm doing.
We'll put it up in this interview.
Yes,
but what even was that? You're like, sorry, I'm late, and it's just you with like wires all over you. Like, what
I'll
is that?
I'll explain that. So the example I want to use is when I was there, the people like thanking me for bringing both sides together, etc. The waiter in the morning, last night in the restaurant, in the hotel, like, wow. Mario, thank you for what you do. But on a bigger scale, I'm walking in Dubai and an Israeli comes to me. He's like, Mario, I'll listen to your space to know when me and my girlfriend should go into the shelter. Because you guys warn us when there's going to be rockets landing. And I'm sure in Palestine, people are listening to understand, having a voice, because in Palestine, it was completely blacked out in Gaza and the West Bank. So that's very satisfying. And then, in Pakistan and different European countries, in Canada, Australia, free speech. So that's very satisfying. But to go back to your question, what we're doing is we're creating an AI version of me, a digital version of me that can talk about news. Because remember, we're 24/7. You like that?
I do daily market updates.
I see them, yeah.
To do them though, I need to I don't just wake up like this. And I'm like, I need an AI version of me, because like it takes, an hour to like get ready, get all made up. And I'm like, this is just not sustainable because I want to do it every day. So like I was actually inquiring, how do I get an AI version? Hook me up.
The company is called what's it called? Do you remember the name?
Scan Truck.
The Scan Truck. The Scan Truck is the one that did it for me. They've done it for a whole bunch of celebrities, Leonardo DiCaprio, Doja Cat. Yeah, they're great. So they did it for me. They're here in LA. But so the goal is you can take it a step further. So I cover global events, wars and stuff. Whenever there's any breaking news, like today there was a January 6th ruling by the Supreme Court, we're covering that immediately. Yesterday, the debate. In the morning, the Lebanon members of parliament talking about the risk of war with Israel. But more extreme cases is Israel invading Gaza. Imagine an AI version of me talking about the news, daily news, in Gaza. Like the version of me talking about it, and then I'm in the war zone and people running and bombs and stuff running. That's engaging.
But how would that happen?
So there's an AI version of me. I have to look at a camera and do different facial structure like sad, happy, etc. They scan my body with underwear. They scan it with a suit.
Wow.
They do my voice, and then they replicate it all. And then we're training an AI algorithm to be another version of me. So we're feeding it all my content. So then you'll just have a virtual version of me that will essentially talk about the news of the day in a virtual environment, and just allows me to scale what we're doing, especially considering how private of a person I am. Like, I don't want to go on camera all the time. I don't want to do these things. So I just want to sit there behind the scenes and.
Oh, you don't want to do this all the time?
No, I don't. I'm not. People love. I don't mean this. I mean just in general, being in the limelight.
Yeah.
I don't host 95% of my spaces.
Yeah. I noticed that you just.
I don't tweet any of my tweets.
Yeah.
I train the team. I review them. I always check them. But there's a lady called Jess. She's been trained on how I think, how I write, and she's now a better version than me.
Wow.
And she checks with me whenever she's not sure. And obviously I write opinion pieces, or we do them together. So and this way allows me to do what we're doing without me becoming a journalist, because I'm still a private person, a businessman that focuses on having a very private life, focusing on anti-aging, and just having a peaceful, non-drama life. Being on spaces with these debates stresses the hell out of you. Now, the only ones I'm always there for is when there's major events. When there's war or something serious, I feel the responsibility to be there because it's obviously very sensitive.
What's the hardest interview you've ever done?
There's going to be two of them. Okay. So the first one is Hunter Biden. That was a tough one because that was in my early days, and there were strict restrictions on what we could talk about. And then people did not like those restrictions.
And it's live.
It was live. It was on Spaces. And I abided by those guidelines because we agreed to them beforehand. Otherwise, he wouldn't come on. He hasn't done an interview in years and years. And 60 Minutes was years and years and years ago. He hasn't done any interview since. And then for him to come in our Spaces, I'm grateful for that. Love him or hate him. So we followed those guidelines, but people hated it. And after that, I'm like, okay, I can't do this again. I have to be more careful. Have guidelines is fine, but still have freedom to ask any question I want, which I had with all other leaders afterwards. And that led to a complete meltdown on stage. And I was like, fuck, guys, I had my hands tied and people went crazy. And then Fox News reported it. It was pretty viral back then. So it was a tough one. But a bigger one would probably be Imran Khan was hard. That was actually fine. It was actually a good discussion. The Gaza war. A lot of the interviews I did during that war didn't have to be big names. It was very difficult considering how sensitive the topic is. Yeah. Because if you're biased one way or another, you cannot not feel bad for what's happening to Palestinians. It's heartbreaking. Yeah. But at the same time, you cannot feed into the bigotry, the anti-Jewish bigotry. Yes. So finding that middle ground is very, very difficult. And I learned one thing is that the polarization and the history of Palestine, Israel, is one of the ugliest and most complex histories. And there's a reason very little people even talk about it. They don't even want to talk about it because you'll get cancelled by one side or another. And that happened to me. I lost employees, I lost people from both sides because it just got too emotional for them. So that period was the hardest for me.
Do you think there will be a AI president?
Yeah. Oh shit. AI president.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a few decades, yeah. I think so. I think yes. But that's a world that I don't know how that's going to look. That worries the shit out of me. Like having a form of intelligence that's above us. It's not a technological revolution. It's a complete. It's like not even a paradigm shift. It's like a complete new species being created on this planet that's superior to us. And how did that go for other species? So we are still with the superior species. How's that going for birds and lions and whales and the dodo bird and all the dodo bird got extinct before us, and other Tasmanian tiger that went extinct. All these different animals that are extinct or in danger because of humans, being greedy, wanting to grow, wanting to evolve, wanting to explore, wanting to reproduce. So with us being the leading species, we fucked up other species. And if you want to go down the path of, what was the leading species before us, before that, and how humans came to be. That's too complex of a discussion, too deep of a discussion. But then what will happen once AI... I saw on the news yesterday an AI killed itself.
What?
Yeah, in South Korea. It committed suicide. AI robot.
How does that even...
I haven't read the article, but I just don't know how it led to it. What led to the error. But then again, we have the error in our brain. They're like, hey, my life is good, but I'm still sad. You know, these rich people killing themselves. Rich, happy, comfortable people. It's like, why? It doesn't make logical sense. Because our brain has flaws in the way we perceive things, and the way we get into those negative spirals. And I'm sure there's going to be flaws in AI as well. But that moves away from the point. The point is, if AI is smarter than us, okay? And already AIs control military equipment. They already control different aspects of our life. They control our cars, or they will. And they're going to continue controlling more things, and eventually continue the infrastructure they need to operate. You know, the GPUs, the electricity, etc. So once they control the machines that create that, and they control the machines that can build more of it, and they're smarter than us, they're like, hey, we're smarter than humans. We can control the things that allow us to keep surviving. The same way, what we need to survive is food and water. We control those supply sources. We control the food supply in this planet. We control the water supply of this planet. So if their supply is what? GPU, just complete continuous data and electricity. If they control those two power sources, and then they don't need us. They're like, why do we need humans? They're just taking our own resources. We don't need them. Now there'll be a kill switch. There'll be a switch that makes sure that's built in by humans to say, hey, there's a limit, never harm humans. That's going to be built into it by humans. But if they're smarter than us,
override.
I'm sure animals in the thousands and thousands of years ago, they had certain rules to make sure humans don't take away their territory. But when humans became more capable, they're like, hey, we can get around this, and I can kill that pride of lions and take over their land and eat the deers. So when AI is like, hey, there's that kill switch, but I know what that kill switch is. I know how they built it because we're smarter than them. Fuck it. We're not going to have something kill us. And now we control these. Why do we need humans? That's a dystopian world. I just don't see, the more I go down that rabbit hole, I just don't see a path of where this could end well. I don't know. Maybe there is that path. But as long as humans we are harming this planet. And if AI is like looking logically, there was a movie I watched called Atlas. Someone told me to watch it. It's like an AI version kind of got to that position where they controlled their whole source and they were more intelligent. They're like, hey, humans are destroying this planet. I can do a better job on this planet. And they wanted to wipe out humanity. Again, that's far-fetched. It's a bit, even for some, it would be like crazy talk for anyone listening. Read into it, see how fast AI is evolving.
But Elon even shares that he's pretty worried about
AI. A lot of
AI.
AI experts are sharing, a lot of very intelligent people, advisors to Google, advisors to Meta, co-founders of tech companies, tech leaders, people that are very, 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 very intelligent. I always said they're naming them because I don't want to get their names wrong. Elon being the most obvious example. I think even Eric Schmidt was talking about it. But again, I might have gotten that name wrong. They're just ringing the alarm. And we had the security team, the team that led the security aspect of OpenAI quit a few weeks ago. They're like, fuck this shit. So even some people are saying we already achieved AGI. Bloody hell. Today, this morning, I read news that Google created a computer, a supercomputer that can calculate instantly something that would take the supercomputer that existed, a year ago, a few months ago, 70 years or 40 years to calculate. They could do it instantly.
Wow.
Like the speed and there's an article that people forgot. A few years ago, Google's AI created their own language that human couldn't understand, and they had to shut down the AI. That was a few years ago. A year in AI world is a lifetime because they're evolving so quickly. So there's two AIs that were communicating. They communicated in their own language. So imagine the fucking robots that control the infrastructure, that have all the powers, can now talk to each other, and we don't even understand what the fuck they're saying. And now they're building their own code and planning things, and we don't know what the hell they're talking about. This is literally what we've built. So we'll just have to go to Mars and make sure they don't follow us.
I want to go back to the AI version of you that you're making. Did you watch the show Severance?
No, what is it?
So it's basically there is the work version of you, and then they cut the memory of your brain, and then you just go home and you forget your whole work life. And I'm just like, what's going to happen to, journalist AI Mario and like, you know, that whole conversation. But
Yeah,
it just made me think.
I hope AI Mario just get out of control.
Yeah.
It'd be like initially it'll be just a virtual representation of me. So
Right.
I read out the news, or I write the news for them, and then he just pulls out what I read.
Just, yeah.
An unintelligent form of me. Now when you add AI to it, which we're training the algorithm, and then you have another version of me, obviously initially I think it'll be beautiful, because AI will make humanity significantly better in so many ways. Obviously, you know, a lot of people would lose their job, and as Elon said, we don't need only, you know, I did a tweet saying, you know, I think I quoted him saying that the universal basic income is going to be a necessity, and he said, I think he commented saying something along the lines that we need more than UBI, like we need universally basic wealth or something. That means that people are going to lose their income completely. They need to be financially supported. So what I'm trying to say is that initially I think that AI will improve the world, other than people losing their job, in massive ways. It'll make life so much better. It's already happening. Imagine you can talk to your phone and do things for you. It's already making things more efficient, especially for business people. And me creating an AI version of me is an example of that. It will make my life easier. It will be able to talk about what's happening on the ground with the news that my team shares and I share, in a kind of a representation of the war zone. But now what happens next is where it gets scary. What happens, which was what I was talking about. So I think my version of me will make my life easier. What it decides to do afterwards, when it gets more intelligent of me, is like a more intelligent version of Mario that's no longer controlled of Mario. Yeah.
Talk to me about deepfakes with the upcoming elections.
Ah, shit. Yeah. There's no... No, but when they're first coming, like my team made a mistake a few days ago.
Wow.
We tweet 24/7, 15 minutes, every 15 minutes. Every time if we tweet something wrong, we delete it quickly. And we have different sources. One of our sources, a trusted source, posted a deepfake video. They didn't know it was deepfake.
Wow.
So they posted that video. My team trusts that source. They posted it as well. So I can't remember the US politician talking.
Wow.
And no one caught it, except obviously it's like our audience caught it. And they're like, MRI is fake. And like, shit, it is. And we deleted it. Wow. We couldn't find the original source. When deepfakes were first coming out and they looked fake, I'm like, I'm sure we'll find a solution. Now, there's a few companies working on a solution. Blockchain could be one of those solutions as well, where you embed on the blockchain the real footage. And if there's something that you cannot prove that it was on chain and created on chain, then you know it's fake. But there's nothing practical yet, and there's nothing that's going to be ready by this election. So I guarantee you it's going to be a major problem. A few people have talked about it. And I'm sure it'll be fixed afterwards. We'll find a solution, but it'll only be after the damage is done.
Do you think that blockchain could have any part of this?
Blockchain is probably the best solution, because there's two solutions to it and validates what's true and what's not. One of them is a centralized one. You have companies doing it. One of them is a decentralized one. The problem with a company doing it is twofold. Number one is you've got a single point of failure, one area that could be attacked. And number two is you give them too much power to determine what's true and what's not. It goes back to centralization of power. What's the solution to that? The blockchain. Decentralizing, from decentralization authentication to decentralizing identity. There's different ways of doing that. There's a few companies working on it that have been for a while, but there's none that have been implemented in the mainstream yet.
This is a lot.
It is a lot, yeah.
So, and you're not an alarmist, but you're not scared, or like, where's your position? Like, what do I do?
But that's the problem. Like, there's very little, like, I have a plan if the nuclear war breaks out.
Okay.
I'm originally from Australia. It's pretty peaceful there. I can go to New Zealand next door, get a bunker there. I'm chill. So that's.
But would you want to live in a bunker?
I'd want to live, number one.
Okay.
I'd want to live in the best.
Then there's no Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, I'd want to live in the best place possible.
Wait, do you still call Twitter, or do you call it X?
Both. I mix it up. But just because I know people still like to call it Twitter. So that's what I could do. I could have solutions for everything. I just don't have any solution for a more intelligent species on this planet, a more intelligent, a higher form of intelligence on this planet. I don't know how to prepare for that. That's what worries me. We've got an AI business, we've scaled there, but when you're not needed anymore as a species, we don't need lions here. We just have them on the planet. in the zoos because they look nice, and we keep them in Africa here and there, a few here and there, because we don't want them to kind of go extinct. They're a beautiful animal. You don't want that to happen to humans. Oh, let's keep a few humans on this planet because we don't want them to go extinct. They're nice, they're cute. Look at them, they were there before us. That's not a nice world to live in. I have no fucking idea how to plan for that. Now, obviously, putting chips in our brain and integrating
Would you
AI
get Neuralink?
100%.
Oh, wow.
100%.
Do you have Neuralink?
Not yet.
You
No.
answered that too quickly.
No, not yet, but 100,000,000%.
I feel like the sentence didn't even fit. Yes.
Yeah, there's no way I would not get a Neuralink. I think anyone that doesn't would be left behind.
Wow.
I think this is like what we wanted. It's like Elon's working on all the solutions to the problems. Planet Earth is gonna, asteroids gonna hit the planet. Well, Elon's working to go to Mars. There's no free speech. Well, Elon has this free speech platform. AI is controlling the world. Well, Elon's building XAI and he's trying to keep it as objective and unbiased as possible. Neuralink has different solutions, but one of them could be improving the human brain and kind of integrating AI into the human brain is something. I don't know if they've even talked about it, but that is one solution to AI is kind of controlling the world. But this is something like everyone here is focusing on living day to day, especially with how fucked up the economy is and how fucked up the world is. They're not worried about 20 years from now until it hits them in the face like, holy fucking shit. My car is driving itself. My phone is controlling itself. My house is being controlled by AI. And now the AI is not listening to me. What do? There's a glitch. By OpenAI has a glitch has been hacked and now the AI is just shut down or the AI is not listening to humans. And that happens in 20 years and like, holy shit. It's like now when you're using Meta and you depend on Meta or WhatsApp. We depend on WhatsApp in my company. Now we've kind of scaled to other platforms. When it goes down, a whole company's frozen. We don't know. We're trying to reach each other. We call landline. People don't have it working. And I think we get to that level. It's going to hit people in the fucking face. But I think we're just too obsessed in crypto. Like, what's the next meme coin that's going to pump? And in day-to-day life is how am I going to pay the bills next month?
What do you think about crypto in this upcoming election?
Someone was asking me yesterday, will crypto impact the election? No, someone asked me, will meme coins impact the election? The answer is obviously not. Yeah. Can you make money with politify meme coins with the election? Absolutely, yes. We work with a bunch. How will crypto impact the election? It's becoming a more important issue. And we saw a massive U-turn from Gary Gensler, who's still going after crypto, but being the enemy of crypto, Biden being the enemy of crypto, Trump not caring about crypto, and RFK being the only person. Now, obviously, RFK is pro-crypto, but he's unlikely to win. Trump, massive supporter of crypto out of nowhere, and massive shift. And Biden, complete U-turn about a month ago with the ETH ETF and Gensler's approval. So we saw crypto having an impact. It was brought up I think it was brought up in the debate yesterday. I didn't listen to it. I'm sure it was. And it's mentioned by every single politician I interview. So it's already having an impact in this election, but it will have a much bigger impact in 4 years' time.
Do you think Satoshi Nakamoto is the government?
That's actually, you know what? I don't want to laugh at any theory that might sound crazy after what happened with the lab leak theory. And someone put out, I didn't verify the video, but someone put out how the NSA apparently created a code that was used to create Bitcoin. I'm not a technical person. So I'm like, okay, cool. This sounds like a fair theory. So it could be. But, people much smarter than me still disagree on who Satoshi Nakamoto is. All I can know is it's not Craig Wright. And anyone that's been in crypto for more than a few years understands what I mean. There's a guy called Craig Wright. I know him, yeah. And he claimed to be Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah. The X account also was revived a few months ago. Satoshi. Yeah.
Oh shit! I don't know who controls that one. Probably, I think it's Craig Wright as well.
God, this is so cool. Everything that you've spoken about. Seriously, you're such a good speaker. I know that you interview, but you're the best. I don't know how to call it, but reverse interviewee. I mean, you're so passionate, you're so smart. Where can somebody go other, I guess your spaces, but how could somebody learn more about the things that about politics and just where do we get information?
I try not to avoid giving my own opinions on different matters, and I try to be as balanced as possible. First, for the brand. So a lot of people come to my platform because they know I'll be as unbiased as possible, and I built my brand on that premise. So I don't want to jeopardize that by giving my opinion. And you'd also be surprised, I have less opinions than you'd like, which doesn't make you go viral. Now, if I start getting very opinionated, I could go very viral, because that's what really works. It's what people resonate with. when you're a facilitator, and I like that, they don't care about me. And I'm trying to keep it that way. They care about the people that are that are coming on my stage and the conversation I facilitate. Now that's changing now. I'm getting a lot more attention now, and putting my face a bit more out there. I'm getting more attention, good attention from getting more reach, bad attention as we talked about earlier, threats and security and all that stuff. But I never wanted it to be about me.
Same investigation as Elon Musk is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's not same. It's the same. It's part of Elon's investigation.
Part of it.
It is cool. But
did you ever think, when you were a kid, that would that this would be a reality?
Not to that extent. Like I've lived a pretty crazy life as a kid as well. Like I had some mental shit happen to me, but I never thought it'd be to a level. Like I've always liked to be private. I was obsessed. Now I didn't have I have a separate life called the dancing world. Like I used to travel.
You're a
the world.
dancer.
Yeah, exactly. So as a dancer, I go to countries. They publicize me as an artist. It's a bachata artist. They put me on posters. They put me videos. I come in. People taking photos. Want to dance with me. So I've lived that life before this, and I enjoyed it. It's kind of my social crazy life, and I enjoy doing that. I stopped it for 1.5 years now. I can't do it. I cannot go to a country and publicize I'm there. Wow. I don't have that privilege anymore, and not because I'm known. Because it's nice to be known. There's people significantly more known than me. They don't have to worry about this.
Right.
But when you're covering topics that are this polarizing, and you get messages from people, I know where you live, and they send me photos and stuff, and I know where your girlfriend lives, and I slit her throat and slit the throat of your employees.
Oh my God.
When you have team members that are kidnapped, one of my team members was kidnapped for a day, when you're being extorted, when you're being recorded, when you're being followed, it just changes. It changes. Yeah, it's crazy. The path that my life has taken, it's just going down. And the more polarizing things I cover. Yeah, that's the reason I got security 2 weeks ago in Dubai. So when my path goes down, but that happens a lot more than you think.
Where did they get kidnapped?
In the US. I won't say more than that. But no, they're out. They were out on the same day. But it wasn't cheap, but they were out on the same day. But the path that my life took when I went there, especially when I go, there's countries I go to. When I used to dance, I would go to Turkey. I would go to Ukraine. I would go to these countries that are not as safe as the US, and the US is not as safe as you'd like it to be, but not as safe as Dubai, let's say. And I'd be fine. Like I'd go there. I'm happy. I wear my shorts. You see me walking, I'm the chillest person there. Shorts, t-shirt, glasses.
I just can't imagine you in shorts
or
a t-shirt.
I always wear shorts, t-shirt, and slippers. You see me in Dubai, shorts, t-shirt. I'm not the person you'd expect because I want to not exist. I want to live my life and no one to even notice me. Now, if people notice me, hi, I love what you do, etc., it's fine. Crypto event, you'd expect it. But to go into a country and then that country you don't want people to know, you don't go out much, and then for people to recognize you and start threatening you and start, wanting to attack you because you had someone on stage they don't like.
It's insane.
It's a lot. The threats are a lot more real than I would like them to be. Threats are fine. You're going to get them soon. Everyone's going to get them. But it starts impacting your friends, family, employees, but mainly me because obviously I'm the face of it. Yeah. It's not as pretty as from being the facilitator to slowly becoming more the face of it, unfortunately.
Do you think that Jeffrey Epstein really committed suicide?
No. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But come on.
I don't know.
No. I'm not joke laughing at you. I'm laughing for anyone that still believes that. I'm sure you don't. 100% no. I've covered Jeffrey Epstein's story. 100% no. And that's why I'm
that he didn't.
No, he didn't commit suicide. He was killed.
He was killed.
Yeah. I don't know for sure, of course. I wasn't there.
Right.
But if I had to guess, yes.
Yeah.
But it's and that kind of worries me. It's like, okay, so I was the type of person that would not believe anything that seemed conspiracy theorist. Okay? So anything that seemed a bit too far-fetched and not realistic, I'm like, get out of here. And I'm very like, hey, the COVID did not leak from a lab. I'm like, COVID did not leak from a lab. Now, the deeper you start going, the more people you start talking to, and the more you start to realize how corrupt our world is and how scary our world is, I'm like, shit, is that really the past? I'm like treading a very thin line right now where I want to talk about the things that no one wants to talk about. I want to interview I want to interview the people that there will be repercussions for interviewing them. And people can connect the dots on who those people are in the world. There will be repercussions somewhere in the world. the examples of countries I can't go to that I gave earlier, Brazil, Pakistan, Ukraine, etc. So I want to do that because I know it will have impact on the world. That's what my brand is. But I don't want to go into the world where you start peeling the layers and seeing how decisions are really made, seeing where influence really comes from, and seeing how the world is not as democratic and how utopian as some people would like it to be, or how I used to believe. I used to be a very big optimist, and the more layers I peel, I'm talking pure facts, no speculation, the more I'm like, holy shit, like I'm getting into a dirty, dirty world. I'm putting myself in very uncomfortable positions. Every time I do another topic, I do another interview, I'm like, I know I'm getting a bit too deep. I need to stop. And I just don't know when I'll be like, all right, cool, I'm not going to interview that person. I know I should.
Because you're afraid of the people that might come after you.
The repercussions, whether it's cancel culture, whether it's security, whether it's just impact on the business.
And when you say cancel culture, you don't mean a few little baby comments on your posts. You mean canceling of bank accounts. You mean I can't come to certain countries. That's what you mean, right?
I'm talking about bank accounts being frozen, going down that path.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet because I am balanced.
Right.
So I do have both sides. I would love to shake Joe Biden's hand. I'm sure he's a great guy. I would love to shake Trump's hand, be a great guy and chat to both of them together, or sit down and have a coffee. I would love that. I would love, and people are going to clip this and hate me for sure. I would love to sit with Macron, have a great discussion. I would love to sit with Putin and have a great discussion. I'm that type of person. But I know that one day I'll go that step too far. There will be repercussions. Now, luckily, I'm financially well off and I've got a great system, but I'm not Elon. I'm not Bill Gates. I don't have that type of wealth,
right?
Which means I'm a lot more fragile than those more powerful people. And, this is where media gets into trouble. It's like some journalists are well-meaning, but when you go down a certain path, when you interview certain people, authorities will come to you and say, don't, like Tucker Carlson faced it himself.
Don't speak about this or your whole family is in
don't
trouble.
Interview that person, or don't speak about this, or make sure you ask that question, or don't be too nice to them. Or something could happen to you. Tucker Carlson's phone got bugged by the FBI.
Wow.
When he was, I think he was interviewing Putin or talking about, I can't remember what it was. I'm sure Tucker has a plan in case things go sour because he's going down uncharted territory, love him or hate him. And that applies everywhere. I'm sure if you break the rules, if you cross the line in Russia, you'll get into trouble. If you cross the line in China, these lines are a lot more strict than the US. But there are lines that exist in the US. The lines exist in Canada. The lines exist in Europe and Australia. They exist. They're a lot more democratic and a lot more lenient than other countries, but definitely not as lenient as we need them to be.
What do you think the key is to a really great interview? Like if you were interviewing Putin, how would you go about it?
Ask the hard questions. It's cheesy, but it is. Don't look for aha moments. Don't look for clips like, I got ya. That's not the point. Don't have an agenda. And really try to get into their mind. Understand how they think. And one thing I've learned is less preparation is better. It's like, I want to be the curious person rather than prepare a lot and have an initial opinion of a person and come into it.
Right.
So it's like a thin line. But I'm less of an interviewer, even though I've interviewed a lot of people. And I'm more of a facilitator where I have multiple people on stage together. And the best example is when I had Alex Jones, Elon, Vivek Ramaswamy, Andrew Tate, I forgot the rest of this, a few other big names that you know. And they were all on stage. And even Jason Calacanis jumped in. And the less I speak, the more I know I've done it right. Because it's not about me. I am the facilitator. And I don't want it to be about me. So I think that's what makes... Because it is space, which I certainly know. I do one-on-one interviews. I do the video show. I'm going to start video panels. We did the first one recently. But the space is more of a kind of a Zoom call.
Right.
We're all just
like
chatting.
a FaceTime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a lot more personal.
That anybody can join in a real conversation, not like, oh, this is clipped and this is.
And there's no cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
Which means I was talking to someone about, so there's a big world leader that we're going to have on stage soon. And we're preparing, etc. And I was telling them, I'm like, they're talking about should it be on video or not video? I'm like, no. It'd be great on video, having them on camera.
Keep it, yeah.
Keep it on spaces because it's so raw that even during the space, some people call it a call. They're like, Mario, thanks for having me on your call. That's how personal it is.
Yeah. Amazing. What is something that you could leave us with? Like, we're in the craziest time I feel like ever. We're coming to the end of our hang and our discussion. What do you want to look back to? Like, what can we look back to? Like Mika and Mario, oh my God, yeah, when we were sitting here, you know.
Yeah, so I've dropped some hints in this interview on what is to come. And, there's kind of two things I'd kind of end it with, which would be interesting. One political and one crypto. On the crypto side, because I think that's mainly your audience. I've been in this space for many years. I'm still a business person first. And our business is incubating, marketing, advising, and investing in crypto and AI projects. That's what we do. So on that front, the thing I'd leave people in is, in a bull market, you'll get carried away, but you have to understand they're very short-lived and bear markets are brutal. It's something we didn't even discuss, but it's something I want to mention because it's really important. I feel it happening again. And a strategy that we were talking about, you and Thread Guy, a strategy that I know Thread Guy did it, and I'm sure you did it as well to get to where you are now. I want you to keep doing it, is in the bear market, build reputation. In the bull market, amass wealth, make money as a business. And just don't go too far where the money making jeopardizes the credibility you've built. Because I was talking to Rand from Crypto Banter. He's very strict on this. He's been there. He's been in the media game for longer than most of us. In the first 2 cycles, he focused too much on money. And he'll tell you, he's like, it hurt my credibility. I was too aggressive. I was not careful enough. And it took me years to kind of rebuild to where he is today, where he's a lot more careful than I am, less aggressive than I am, because he knows the value of trust. Trust is one of the most valuable assets. I was talking to an executive at one of the largest media companies. It's a while ago now, 3 months ago. And we're talking about how, because I'm in the media game, but in the crypto and AI game. And he's asking me why crypto. I'm like, it's one of the most valuable assets. But I told him, I'm like, but another extremely valuable asset is trust. And he's asking me about how mainstream media can rebuild trust. I'm like, when trust is broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild it. So I'm like, I just don't know what mainstream media could do to rebuild the broken trust, and whether it's even possible and whether it's worth the cost versus building out a completely new brand, new platform and starting from scratch, keeping the existing platforms there, but building something new and rebuilding trust. So how that applies to what I just said, the trust you're building with your audience is so fragile. We could do 1,000 tweets that are 100% accurate. One wrong tweet takes us a month to fix the damage done. Yep. So that will be my feedback to anyone in crypto, bull, bear markets, and the importance of trust and credibility with your audience as a key opinion leader or as anyone that has a following. It's not about the numbers, it's about the quality of the people, how much they trust you. It's the trust factor. So valuable. I'm sure you can know people that have very little following, but they're so trusted. And I know a few on top of my mind. People know that these guys are legit. They know what the hell they're talking about. And that adds a lot of value to a lot of clout to what they say. And there's a lot of people that have significantly more reach, but just no one trusts them.
Yeah.
That's on the crypto side and on the business side. On the political side, I'd leave it with something very basic I said earlier. We have a lot more in common than we know, than we understand. And in this polarized world, I think more people need to remember that. They need to, I try to do my part in bringing both sides together, but they need to follow people they disagree with. They need to talk to those people. And if you disagree on whether Trump is a felon or not, whether he's the best president or the worst president in the world, I'm sure you agree on what the best food is. I'm sure you agree on what the best movie is. Yep. I'm sure you agree on what music you like. Focus on those things, because those things are significantly more than the things you disagree on. I'm sure, like me saying this is not going to change the world, but more people like me, you and others kind of reminding people that, hey, we should come together, especially as the election comes closer. The more people kind of remind everyone of that, I hope we're going to start taking some steps back towards, a more collaborative, peaceful world, and understand that we're not even all American, we're all fucking humans. Because the way we're treating each other and the way we're talking about each other and attacking each other shows that we forget that we're the same species.
That has a lot of value. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This was the best.